for everyone to join us. So just give us a couple of minutes to get situated. All right, I think we've got a few people joining us now. Keep coming in, which is great. I'm going to give it about one more minute and then we'll get started. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining and registering this video debut. I'm Erica. I'm Food Empowerment Project's Marketing and Communications Manager. We are so excited to share this video that was done by an amazing supporter of ours in Australia, who's actually joining us today, Zach Milner-Cretney, with narration by Gabriela Dorantes. We hope that you enjoy this video as much as we do, and please stay tuned for after the premiere for a live Q&A where I will be joined by FEP founder and president Lauren Ornelas and our newest hire, FEP executive director Sharanya Krishna Prasad. With all that being said, I'm going to pass the screen over to Sharanya to start the video. Enjoy.
Food is power. Our food system is a huge interconnected web stretching across the globe. It links fields to factories, human animals to non-human animals, workers to corporations. When we choose what to have for dinner, we're not just choosing what to eat. We're also choosing whether or not to support the industries that put the food on our plates. That's a lot of responsibility, but it's a lot of power too. For those of us who are able to make informed, ethical food choices, we can make a real difference in the lives of humans, non-human animals, and the earth. At Food Empowerment Project, or FEP, we believe that our food choices can change the world, and we want to show you how. The most incredible thing our food choices can do is reduce the amount of suffering in the world. How? Well, each year, tens of billions of non-human animals are exploited in our food production systems. Each one of them is an individual who is aware of their own existence, feels pleasure and pain, and wants to be safe and free. They are confined, separated from their families, mutilated, and killed. Our food choices can reduce the amount of suffering of non-human animals when cutting out meat, dairy, and other animal products. FEP promotes ethical veganism, encouraging people not to contribute to the exploitation and suffering of animals, both human and non-human. Our website is full of information to help people understand the power of their food choices and learn how these choices can impact non-human animals, from chickens and rabbits to fishes and other sea creatures. And it also includes some recipes and meal ideas. To support this further, Food Empowerment Project has created 2 vegan websites, one featuring delicious Mexican food in English and Spanish, and one with amazing Filipinx recipes in English and Tagalog, to help people go and stay vegan. So, ethical veganism is important, but not everybody can get the kind of food they need for a healthy plant-based diet. If we want people to eat more fruits and vegetables, we need to make sure that all people have access to fresh, affordable produce. In Black and Brown communities and in low-income neighborhoods, access to fresh fruit and vegetables is often limited or non-existent. It is vital that we acknowledge the ways that racism and economic disadvantage prevent marginalized communities from being able to access healthier food. When invited, FEP makes an assessment on the availability of healthy foods and begins to work with local communities, policymakers, and community organizations. We then convene focus groups to determine the barriers seen and experienced by the community to help create solutions that will benefit the health of individuals over corporations. But we can't stop there. We want to get fresh produce on more shelves and on more plates. And those fruits and vegetables have to come from somewhere. We want people to think about the ways their food choices can reduce the suffering of non-human animals in our food system. But what about the humans in that system? Farm workers are some of the most vulnerable and exploited workers in the United States. They often work long hours in extreme heat, are exposed to agricultural chemicals, and many experience homelessness due to their low wages or wage theft. Also, many are migrant or undocumented workers who are threatened with deportation if they speak up, which leaves them vulnerable to a variety of abuses. In addition, female farm workers experience sexual harassment on a regular basis. We advocate for improvements to farm worker rights at corporate, legislative, and regulatory levels. In 2018, we helped overturn a rule that had forced the families of farm workers to move at least 50 miles away from the migrant camps when picking season was over, a regulation that negatively impacted their children's education. This victory meant that their children could now finish their school year without having to move. On a grassroots level, FEP organizes a school supply drive for the children of farm workers to help ensure these kids are offered all the opportunities that come with an education, something their parents have sacrificed so much for so that they might have opportunities previous generations may not have had. The fight for farm workers' rights doesn't end at the borders of the United States. We have a responsibility to the people who supply us with our food, even when they're on the other side of the world. Some of the worst human rights abuses in our food system happen in the supply chain for that confection we all love so much, chocolate. The chocolate industry gets much of its key ingredient, cacao, from areas where the worst forms of child labor and slavery are most prevalent. Children as young as 7 work long hours using dangerous equipment, and in some cases are not allowed to leave the farms they work on, and are beaten and sometimes not seen again if they try to flee. They go through all this just to make candy for us to eat halfway around the world. By informing people where their chocolate comes from, we can create transparency to help people eat with their ethics. On our website, Food Empowerment Project has a list of chocolate companies to let consumers know which companies we do and do not recommend based on the country of origin for their cacao. And we even have a free downloadable app to make it easy for those who have a smartphone. Be sure to look out for our mascot, Chavez, to see which chocolates we recommend. Our food choices are powerful. That means people are powerful. and that means you are powerful. Food Empowerment Project is about showing people just how much power their food choices hold. We want everybody to understand how much good their food choices can do, how much suffering we can stop. But we understand that making the world more just and equal is not a simple task. We can't just think about humans or just non-human animals or just the earth. We have to understand the way that these things are interconnected and the complicated systems they create. Together, we can help each other understand the whole picture. Then, we can work toward a better world. Remember, food is power. Use it with compassion.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that. So I've watched this video countless times, but it is still so great to watch again because I always catch something new. It's really that amazing. So thank you, Zach. We really appreciate you and all the hard work you put into this video. So we are going to actually open up the Q&A portion of this webinar now. So please take advantage to ask us any questions you may have about the video, about our work in general, or just anything FEP related. We really want to hear from you. Yeah, we really want to hear from you. While we're waiting, how about we ask Lauren, what was your favorite part of the video?
Well, first of all, since Zach is on here, I just have to thank you again, Zach, so much for this incredible video that you made. I get teary-eyed from it because you're really putting the images and the reality into a lot of what we talk about. And I think it makes it more powerful and more real to people. And right now, knowing that the farm workers in California are picking grapes during harvest season when we're having extreme heat, as well as the smoke being incredibly bad for the fires, makes it all the more real. So thank you for putting so much heart into this video and really reading our minds. Sorry, Erica. So to answer your question, I think that one of the things I love the whole video, but if I look at one part that struck me the most, even the first time I saw it, was in the grocery store cart, like hit a wall and couldn't access the fruits and vegetables until equity was created, until everybody was on the same playing field. And I think for me, that's the most powerful because I think it's hard for some people to recognize what's happening, especially if they've lived in a more privileged area, that they don't understand what it's like for others. And so to have that visual of a grocery cart literally hitting a wall until some equity is created, I think is very powerful and an image that I hope will stick with people. What was your favorite part, Erica?
Thanks for throwing it back to me. I absolutely love Chavez and their little wink in the chocolate section. I don't know if y'all remember us doing a live video of our little bunny friend Emmeline picking the name Chavez for our chocolate mascot. Maybe some of you were a part of that and submitting names to help us choose the name, but it was so much fun and she was so, I want to say precious, but well, she was precious and she was very cute, choosing which of the sticks that she wanted us to name the mascot. For those who don't know Chavez, they are FEP's recommended chocolate mascot. They help you choose ethically sourced vegan chocolates, and you can find the little Chavez tag in vegan stores across the US and Canada, including Food Fight in Portland, Vegan Haven in Seattle, Nooch Vegan Market in Denver, Veggie Rebellion in Glendale, Rabbit Food Grocery in Austin, and last but not least, Eternal Abundance and Nice Shoes in Canada. If you're out shopping for ethical vegan chocolate and spot our little Chavez mascot, please do take a picture and tag us on social media. We love seeing them out doing their job and working hard. Also, you can watch the video of Emmeline picking the name Chavez on our Facebook videos. So head over there after this and you can check it out. Shadanya, what about you? What was your favorite part?
Sorry, as I get off mute. As the newest member of the FEP family, I loved how the video explained all of the complex links between the issues that we work on, but visually it was very simple but holistic. I also loved how, Zach, again, thank you for making such an amazing video. I loved how the initial part of the video that shows the different connections between the issues and the end of the video connected, but the end of the video showed it as a circle almost of influence of fields, factories, corporations, and then the inner circle of humans, non-human animals, and the environment. And that really put things into perspective of the depth of the issues that we work on, and also just the wide variety of issues that FEP works on, but in a very simple and easy to understand way. And honestly, it was the best welcome to my new work home. So thank you for this.
And I just wanted to, everybody who's on here again, just really hear it and hear it from me, how happy we are to have Shania as part of our team. I think maybe most of you know that I'm the founder of Food Empowerment Project, and I started it in 2007. And Shania has become our new executive director. And I am very, very excited about it. It's been fantastic to have her and her skills, numerous skills that she's brought to the organization. And, you know, for me, I can see now that Food Empowerment Project is going to be able to grow. And just so thankful to have her part of the team. And I look forward to y'all getting to know her. And yeah, Shania, just want to thank you, you know, in front of everybody, because this is like the first time you've done anything like this with. Just thank you so much for joining Food Empowerment Project. And we are just so excited about all the things that we're going to be able to do and accomplish together. And today's kind of a hard day because the fire's out here. So I don't want to get all weepy, but we'll just leave it to say, Shania, just that thanks for what you've already done, and thank you for what you're going to be able to continue to do for the organization.
Oh, thank you. I'm really happy to be here, and I'm very excited to see where FEP can go with all of us putting in our best effort. So I'm very excited for the future. I think we have a lot of great things coming our way.
Absolutely. Yes. And just to reiterate, I am just so happy with our team and the way that it's coming together. And just, I'm so excited for the future of FEP and all the things we are going to accomplish, because I know we can do it and we're going to do it. And we're going to make this world more just for sure. As cheesy, as vegan cheesy as that may sound. So as everyone I'm sure knows that is attending this premiere, you know that Food Empowerment Project has a wide but consistent message, and we hope that this video just helps you bring it all together. It's the first time we've actually had it done visually, and we think and hope that it'll help others better understand the work that we do. So we've actually gotten a few questions in, but I think I'm going to throw a poll in here right before we jump into the questions. Just keep throwing us those questions. We will get to them in just a minute, but let me throw this poll up really quick. And let me see if I can get it. So we just want to know, we want to hear from you, and just let us know how many of you found this video useful in understanding our work. And I'll give you a minute to just pick one of those answers. The first one is, I already got it, but this helped me understand it visually. The second one is, yes, it was absolutely amazing. And the third one is, yes, but I need to watch it again. So I'll give you about 45 more seconds to choose. So we're about 86% have voted. But if you don't want to vote, that's fine. Thank you for being here. We at least appreciate that so much. So I'm going to end the poll now. And the results are fantastic. So let me just share those with you. The majority of you said that yes, it was absolutely amazing, and I couldn't agree more. And I'm sure Shiranya and Lauren agree as well that it was absolutely amazing. And we really hope that you will share this as well with your friends and family if you believe that it was useful in helping to understand the work that we are doing. So let me stop sharing the results and let's jump into the questions. So the first question, I think I'm going to throw this at Lauren, not literally. How would you like Food Empowerment Project to grow? Do you hope to expand into different cities and states?
That's a really good question. Um, I want Food Empowerment Project to grow in the areas of our work. As it's obvious to anybody, we do a lot of different work in a variety of areas, but we could do so much more and dig even deeper if we had more the capacity, meaning the more people to help do this work. So that's kind of what I mean in terms of grow. I'm not sure how many of you saw a talk I gave, and I think we promoted it, that we do not have chapters. We had a phenomenal, beautiful chapter in Seattle, Washington, but I started to recognize the impact that I felt that chapters were having on animal activism and activism in general, that instead of being animal rights activists being able to do localized work in each community, which is going to be different in every community, activists were kind of doing the same thing. So as somebody who's from Texas, who lived in Georgia and now lives in California, I know that the activism we do in California isn't always going to work in places like Georgia. So it wasn't letting the individuality and creativity of activists grow. And I also found it to be a form of colonization, to be honest, that, uh, this happens globally and within the US, where chapters kind of are top heavy, and what they want wherever it is that they're based is what they make everybody else do. And it just felt like a replication of colonization. And that's not something that I want Food Empowerment Project to ever be a part of. I want Food Empowerment Project to help other activists to find their strengths, to find what in their community might be in need of. But I don't feel like anybody needs to do it under the umbrella of Food Empowerment Project as much as we just want to help them grow and run their own organizations or do their own work as individual activists. So I hope that answers that.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer. Thank you, Lauren. And I hope that helped answer the attendees' question as well. If not, you know what to do. Add another question in there. Let's see. The next question is awesome video. If cocoa powder or cacao nibs are labeled as fair trade, is that a guarantee that they come from an ethical source, or do we need to do more research? Thank you. So I'm going to throw that back at Lauren. Sorry, Lauren.
That's fine. So basically, for those of you who know Food Empowerment Project works on the chocolate issue, but maybe you just trust us and you don't know all the details, just to help with understanding it, we do not trust any certifications whatsoever. You can read an article from June 5th of last year in the Washington Post that really takes the certifications to task for not really being what they're supposed to be. So we do not trust fair trade, Rainforest Alliance, or if you're outside of the US, OOTS, or any of those. We go based on country of origin for the chocolates that we do or do not recommend. And you can look on our website and you can find a list of chocolates we do and don't recommend. And on there is a link that will direct you to understanding our chocolate list. So at this point in time, we don't recommend any cacao sourced from Western Africa. And if it's sourced from Brazil, there's only certain farms that we will actually recommend from, because slavery and child labor is so prevalent that no matter what type of cooperative it is, what type of certification it has, they're still finding slavery and child labor. So we really hope that you'll use our list. Again, you can contact us. If there is a vegan, we're a vegan organization, so the company has to make at least one vegan chocolate. If there's a company you don't see on our list that you'd like to know if you should trust their chocolate or not, you can email us their name and we'll do the research, and then we'll update our chocolate list and let you know if we recommend them or not.
Great. Thank you, Lauren. Let's see. The next question I'm going to give to Shiranya. Um, the question is, how have your day-to-day operations changed with the pandemic, and will any practices change permanently with the increase of virtual tech?
That's a great question. Thanks, Elise, for submitting that question. I would say that in terms of the day to day operations, everyone has had to change and adapt to the pandemic. One prime example is that I was hired, but then I'm never in the office. I'm in my home office, as you can see, which is where I am right now. But also, given all the restrictions, we're not able to congregate in the office like we usually would if it was a non pandemic situation. But that said, thanks to virtual communication tools such as the one we're using right now, we have been able to connect more, both internally as a team and also with all of you, our supporters. And we are definitely hoping that we can do more of these going forward so that you have a connection to us on a regular basis. So keep looking out for announcements on when we will be doing more of these Facebook Live events and also live on YouTube. So we hope you will join us in the future ones as well.
Can I just say something real quick?
Yes, Lauren.
And
Please.
sorry, sorry for those of you who don't know me. I will keep my comments as much as a minimum. But basically, I just wanted to say that two of our main events every year that we are having to adjust is our school supply drive for the children of farm workers. So in the Bay Area, we typically had drop off locations for our school supply drive from up in the North Bay in Sonoma County all the way down to San Jose and Santa Cruz. But this year, because of the pandemic, we couldn't have any drop off locations at all. So 100% of donations that came in had to be shipped to us, which is different. We also had to do our packing of the supplies themselves, not just the backpacks, differently because we couldn't have a group of volunteers in our office. So we had to adjust that this year. We're still getting the school supplies out in the backpacks. It's just a little bit differently than we normally have to do it. As well, our Vallejo Healthy Food Fest that we do every year is usually in person, but this year it's going to be all virtual. But we're still going to try to make sure that people in Vallejo get as much as they can out of the event. So the money that we're saving from the location, we're actually going to use that money to buy actual cookbooks for participants, including some from Tracy McWhorter and Bryant Terry. And everybody will get like the African American starter kit or vegan Mexican food booklet and vegan Filipino food booklet too, and that's out. So we are having to adjust things, but we are still doing the work that we always do, just in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for mentioning the school supply drive and the Vallejo Healthy Food Fest, Lauren. Dana actually commented on Facebook asking us what changes were happening this year with the school supply drive. So thank you for taking care of that question. Um, another attendee, their question, I love it. It's so fantastic. It is, what brought you to FEP? And I think I'll start. um, as I think the newest vegan of the organization. I'm just a baby vegan. I think it's going on maybe 5 or 6 years I've been vegan. And I started off as a vegan, just really focused on the animal rights side of things. But coming from, my family is low income. My dad was once a farm worker in Watsonville. And so just seeing that perspective and living that, and then also finding out that FEP actually covers that. And it's like more of a holistic approach to all of these issues that are definitely connected. I found that it was just so refreshing, knowing that I don't have to take a part of me away or pick different justice issues that I can care about. So I think if that makes sense. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but that's how I found my way to FEP, just animal rights, and then seeing the farm workers, the issues that they were connecting with all of our food issues. But I'll pass it along to Sharanya.
Yeah, my path to FEP was also very similar to Erica's. I'm originally from India and I moved here to get an education and to work. And as I started working in the animal protection movement, I realized that I cared about a lot more than just animals. I cared about the humans in the system as well. And I couldn't quite find the right organization until now. And I was so excited when I found that FEP cared about all of the different issues that I cared about and was able to bring it all together in such a unique way. And so, yeah, I feel like I'm just really lucky to be here, and I'm very excited to be able to contribute to FEP's mission and vision. Lauren, what about you?
I'm so excited that y'all found Food Empowerment Project. Since I started the organization, I think that it's hard for me to say what brought me to it because I birthed it, I think. But I think that I started the organization just believing I wasn't the only one. I just could not imagine I was the only one who cared about animal rights and also cared about human rights. I just started it thinking that it can't just be me. And I've been so humbled over the years, literally, to have people connect and be a part of Food Empowerment Project because we're stronger when we're all together, and it helps us to feel less alone because it can be feeling alone sometimes. And so, anyway, I think I'll just leave it at that.
Thanks, Lauren. Another question is, will FEP expand the recommended coffee list? There's only a few listed on the website, and I think I can take that. We are at the moment working on updating our website. It's a little outdated, with a few pages being updated recently, but for the majority of the website, we are in the process of updating all of that, including the coffee list, where we're hoping to expand that. So please stay tuned. We will definitely give a post or an update in a post on social media. So please follow us. Let's see. Next, someone says, thank you for being so intersectional. With so many issues under One Health, how do you decide where to focus your energy and efforts? I feel like this is a question that we get often, like, we're such a small team, and how do we really focus on these different issues? Lauren, I'll pass it back to you.
So the question is like, how do we decide what we focus on? You know, I always feel like this is so hard because it's just like, I don't know, I thought so. It's more than that, obviously. But, I think when we first got started and I had a full time job doing something else, I really was just learning. I was like a sponge learning everything. And so, one of the reasons why we started to work on lack of access to healthy foods is because I learned about food apartheid. I learned about the injustices taking place against Black, Brown, and Indigenous communities. And I also lived in Santa Clara County in California at the time. And for those of you who don't know that area, that's known as the Silicon Valley. That is where an incredible amount of wealth is. It's also where Cesar Chavez, who was a vegan, got his organizing start. And I lived downtown San Jose and I worked in downtown San Jose. And where I lived and where I worked, I had two liquor stores across the street from each other. And so I decided, let's see if this is happening here or not. So that's really why we started working on that issue. The chocolate issue was because I would go around and I would be talking about what was happening in the chocolate industry, and activists would ask, well, is there a list of chocolates that you recommend? So then our chocolate list was born. And then people would say, is there a way that I can take this list to the grocery store and you can create an app? And then the app was born. So some of this has just come from people asking us, like coffee. I don't drink coffee, but so many people started asking us about coffee. We created the coffee list. And when you look at the school supply drive for the children of farm workers, I went on a reality tour of farm workers and we were asked to bring clothes or school supplies. And my husband and I brought school supplies. And this little boy, about 13 years old, grabbed a pack of pencils and said, oh my God, this is so awesome. And I thought, if this 13-year-old kid's getting that excited about school supplies, he understands it's because it's future. And so he can do good work in school. And I realized that in there, what we needed to start doing was a school supply drive for the children of farm workers. So some of this comes out of need, right? And we're very lucky now that we have an executive director to shut down all my millions of ideas, so we don't get like too out there. But somebody who can really be like, okay, let's refine this and do it better. Because as Erica knows, I can come in every day with new ideas. We just don't have the capacity to do them all. So that's how some of these parts of our work were developed. So great question. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Lauren. I'm going to Facebook now to check on questions there. And this one, is going back to you, Lauren. I think you're going to do a great job answering this.
She thinks. I like that. I think you can. Well, I hope you can, Lauren. All right.
I have faith that you can answer
Yes,
this.
we know you can, Lauren.
Exactly. So the question is, what are your thoughts on reaching progressives/leftists with this message? I know this is an ongoing question, but the disconnect is so disappointing. They still say dismantling capitalism is the solution, not individual choices.
I think I followed that. So in terms of reaching the left, I guess was the question. And I don't know if they're asking specifically about animal rights or about all of the issues that we talked about, because clearly most leftists get the work that we're talking about. They may have a bit of a barrier when it comes to veganism and animal rights, which I think is understandable to some degree when you consider that animal rights organizations have often offended our natural allies. And that cannot be discounted. That there is an obvious reason why maybe some feminists, why maybe some in the Black community, and some in the Latinx community don't want to hear it from vegans and animal rights activists, because we have literally been, I guess our values have basically been disregarded and our lived experiences have been ignored. And I think that I know there was something in there about individual choices and all that. I think that's one of the problems, is that we need to do both. We need to use our individual choices to make a difference, but we also have to use our collective voices, because just because I decide I want to go vegan or I want to boycott a product because it's not good to farm workers, it's not going to make a difference unless I challenge the corporations. And I do think capitalism is absolutely part of the problem of what's happening to human and non-human animals. Erica, did I answer the question? Or okay. Shivanya says I did, and she's my boss, so she said I did.
You're done. You're done.
Okay. My boss says I'm done, everybody.
Yeah, I think you answered that great. Yeah, perfect. Just going through, we just have a lot of love on Facebook, and in here as well. One of the other questions on Facebook is, what is the best way to support FEP? I can definitely tell you that monetary donations are where it's at. But if you can't do that, we completely understand. And, following us on social media, we have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube. You can follow us and just support us by sharing all of our posts and information that we do. You can also sign up to our e-newsletter. And volunteering. Volunteering is a huge part of FEP, and we are always so grateful and appreciative of people that want to volunteer their time and their energy and just their expertise. Anything, just reach out to us. We are here to answer any questions and find ways for you to help us. So I hope that answers your question. Let's see other questions. This is a good one. What are the biggest roadblocks in your work? And I'm going to give it to Lauren.
Well, now that we've hired Shiranya, I see no more roadblocks. I'm like, we're good to go, everybody. You love FEP? We got a great new executive director. Okay. And Shiranya's like, oh my God, that is a lot of pressure. Oh my God. Okay. No, she doesn't.
Challenge accepted, Lauren.
I have complete faith in her. So much faith. Okay. What are some of the roadblocks? Finances, money is a huge roadblock for us. I would say, keep in mind that I started Food Empowerment in 2007, and there are organizations who are so much smaller than us that have $1 million budgets at this point, and we are just still slowly getting. We just had enough money to hire an executive director, so we're still growing. So we have some foundations who will say things to us like, we ask for funding for our Vallejo Healthy Food Fest, and their response is, we don't think that veganism is the path to food justice. Whereas we see it's all connected. There's so many layers there, especially when you look at veganism for Black and Brown and Indigenous communities. Why it's imperative that we talk about, especially dairy in there. But I would say that, a general barrier is the very essence of people who support veganism and animal rights being hesitant to support all of our work because of the human rights work that we do. And I think that right now the human rights supporters are really just drowning in a lot of issues that they're working on. But I will tell you that how happy they are to hear a vegan say, oh, I work on farm worker justice issues because I'm a vegan and I appreciate the farm workers feeding me. So that's why I work on farm worker justice issues. They're like, I've never heard a vegan say that before. I've never heard a vegan acknowledge that. And you would be amazed at the doors that open. I right now am on a task force in Sonoma County for the Latinx community on COVID-19. I am meeting with the public health department every month with a whole bunch of Latinx leaders, and I'm the only vegan group there. And why am I represented? Because we're talking about farm workers. We do work with farm workers. So it's opened a lot of doors for the work that we do. So I know this was about barriers, and I just talked about opening doors, and that's a contradiction. But anyway, I think I answered that. Thanks for the question.
Yes. Thank you. Another question that I think I'm going to pass to Shadanya this time is, I don't consider myself an activist, but want to help. What specifically can I do?
Yeah, I think sometimes people look at the word activist and don't quite see how they fit in. But I would say, think of every individual as having the power to create change. And I think Zach's video showed that as well. It says towards the end, it talked about how people are powerful because our food choices can have such a big impact in the world around us. And so I would say, just think about your everyday actions and have a little bit of, um, you know, sort of a background understanding of how your action is having an impact on the world around you. So, with the work that we're doing, obviously we promote ethical veganism, and so that's one of the ways that you can do it. But also with FEP's work, and this I kind of mentioned before, the one of the big reasons that brought me to FEP was because I do care about the people that are picking the food that I end up consuming, and so having that human side of things and knowing that I can purchase certain products and support a better lifestyle for the individuals that are helping feed me. I think that's very important too. And so we do have power in our food choices. And so think of that as being a way to be an activist. And I know, Lauren, you also have in the past talked with me about this. So do you want to add to that as well?
I guess I would just add that I think that every day being a vegan kind of helps you to be an activist because you're probably talking to people about why you don't eat, why you choose not to eat particular products because maybe they have animals in them. But I think that you can be an activist in a variety of ways, just by leading by example. So I don't know, there's always that definition of vegan. Does it mean you're in the streets? Well, you could be at home writing letters. You could be passing stuff on social media. And for a group as small as Food Empowerment Project, you just sharing our work on your social media is a form of activism for us to get the word out about our work. But we also have on our website a list of 15 things you can do. So you might want to check that out and see other ways you can help make it different.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm just going to go through the questions here. We have a question from YouTube. It says, I was wondering about the ethics behind exotic and rare fruits, not just from an environmental perspective, but also a labor rights standpoint. And I think a way to tie this in, and I'm going to pass it back to you, Lauren, after I say this, but just incorporating maybe our banana list into that, because we don't grow bananas here in the US at least.
I think that anytime you have a commodity, you're going to have problems unless it's worker owned, unless it's yeah, I want to say pretty much unless it's worker owned, that they make all the decisions for how they want to spend their time, their profits, when they want to work. I think you're going to run into some type of problem. So I don't know enough about the rare fruit. Like Erica said, we do have a banana list because we do know that there are lots of problems in the banana industry. We also have a wine list because we know wine workers, especially right now when the fires are going on, our wine list is vegan and worker friendly. But I think that anytime you have a commodity, you're going to have a problem with that. But we do support one, I guess I should say a label because it's not technically a label, but there's one producer, Equal Exchange, that we do tend to support. And I know that they do have bananas, but I don't know if they have any other type of rare fruits. But again, we do have a handful of other products that we're going to be putting on our website soon that we're going to be looking into more deeply. And don't worry, I mean, like I'm nervous about what we're going to find out myself because I already know the problems with some of these. But as FEP always does, we're either going to try and give you solutions or and try and work together and create solutions in whatever industry it is that we're looking at that might be problematic.
Absolutely. Thank you. Another question. Is there currently any specific legislation that FEP supports that we can advocate for as individual activists? And I know, Lauren, you're working on a couple things behind the scenes, so maybe you can talk about that.
I mean, federally, there's some for farm workers, but I have to say I don't have any faith in the federal government, regardless of who's in charge. But I still think you need to vote. So I'm going to skip over federal legislation. There are some propositions in California and legislation in California. Unfortunately, I've been working on a piece of legislation that included farm workers, but farm workers were just removed, and that was AB 1632. But there are some propositions in California. I'd have to look up if I think it's Prop 16 that we're in favor of. Obviously, as a nonprofit, we can't endorse candidates, but we can endorse propositions. But there's no legislation off the top of my head. But if you are in New Jersey or California and you want to know specific, then send us an email. Then I can let you know what legislation it is that we're pushing for right now. I get all the bill numbers confused, but I know New Jersey has some stuff right now for farm workers, as does California. Especially COVID-19, a lot of legislation is being passed, at least in California, to try to protect the workers.
Great. Thank you, Lauren. Let me see that one. This one, we don't really work on this question, but I think it's something that we can address. The question is, what are your thoughts about food waste? Both of you can answer that. I mean, but maybe as an individual, because Food Empowerment Project doesn't necessarily work on that. So Lauren, start with you.
Well, I mean, obviously everybody should be concerned about food waste, but my fear sometimes is that there's more attention again being put towards food waste instead of looking at the actual problems that exist in the food industry. Including honestly veganism. Sometimes I feel like, oh, what can you do for the planet? It's like, take care of food waste. And I'm like, really? We have access to healthy foods. Maybe you should think about going vegan first. So sometimes I worry it's a distraction tool that then everybody's culpable. Everybody has to do it. And I agree, everybody, if they can, they should be doing it. But I worry that it is just something that people are talking about because it's easier to talk about than encouraging people to change their eating habits.
Absolutely. Shadania, do you have anything to add to that?
Just that for myself and for my family, what I try to focus on is a lot of cooking at home. And so, in that sense, I have control over what I'm purchasing and also how much of it I'm purchasing and how much I'm using. That said, yes, it is extremely difficult because food waste is something we should all care about, but it's also affecting all of our lives. And so, just again, making smart choices for yourself and your family, I think, is the best way to do it.
Thank you. So there is another question in here about a source for cacao butter and cosmetics. I don't think we have an answer. Lauren, you don't have an answer?
No, I mean, I think we have I want to say we have one or two companies on our chocolate list that might not be edibles as much as they are in cosmetics. So I think it was because people wanted us to look it up for them. So in a case like that, you could contact us if there's a particular company. I think Erica said that Dana's on this on Facebook. So Dana's our incredible volunteer who's been helping us for years on our chocolate list, years. But we're happy to look into a company for cocoa butter as well. I would say that it's not something we want to spend a lot of our time on. I mean, unfortunately, you know, we don't have that type of bandwidth, but we will if somebody's like, I love this company. It's vegan. I've been using it forever. Can you check into it? Sure, we'll look into it.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, and that goes for if you find any, chocolate out there that's vegan, that is not yet on our list, please do reach out to us and our wonderful volunteer Dana.
Can I mention one other thing really quick?
Go
Is
for it.
to not forget that if you use our app, that you can speak to the companies too. So use our app. So if you're using, your favorite products on our recommended list, you can use our app to reach out to them on social media and let them know like that you care where they're buying their chocolate from and you're glad that you can still buy their product. So they know it matters to people. They know that it makes a difference to why people are buying their product. And absolutely the same thing that goes for the companies that we don't recommend. Use that social media, whatever it's called, button, something like that, and tell them why you're not buying their product, because they need to know people are listening, and they damn well need to know people care about what's happening to children and what slavery that's taking place. They need to know that it matters.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure Dana will appreciate you cutting me off as I was giving her praise. Our wonderful
Dana.
volunteer, Dana, who works tirelessly on our chocolate list. Yes, on Twitter especially, if you tweet to companies, they typically respond and they get very upset that they are not recommended by us. So please use that platform. Let's see what else we got. Another question coming in from YouTube. Maria, I don't know if you know Maria. Just kidding, it's Maria French. She says, can't think of any other org that operates with such an exceptional and consistent level of integrity and empathy. What are some of your go-to forms of self-care to prevent burnout and compassion fatigue? And I know me and Lauren both struggle with this so much. I'll at least say that I love being out in nature, just having kind of resetting by just unplugging from social media, from all electronics, and just being out listening to nature or going to the ocean. I know right now it's you cannot do that, unfortunately. So I've been taking bubble baths, reading books, and just listening to really chill music. So passing it along to Lauren.
Well, I struggle with it. Like I said, I got involved in animal rights when I was 17, and that's pretty much been my life. Um, and so it's something I seriously struggle with. And I think that I've talked a good talk for years about it. I'm hoping at some point in time to be more open and talk about it a little bit more in depth. But it is something I struggle with, and I'm working on it. I think that what I do is to spend some time with my wonderful husband, Mark Hawthorne, where we watch bad movies on Friday nights to just decompress from a hard week. But I also go to therapy. And, I don't mind saying that. Shoni is like, what? No, I'm just kidding. But I think it's really important as well. I think that for a long time, I just thought, I know I won't burn out. That's not a concern that I have. But the impact that all of this has on my soul is definitely, very real. And I think that the more we're all honest about that and we look after each other, I think that sometimes I think taking care of myself is more me looking out for my friends and my colleagues, because I love them and I care about them and I want them to be okay. And I think that that some ways is my form of self care. Senya?
Yeah, thank you for passing it on. For myself, I feel like my go-to stress relief is gardening. So I have a little oasis where I currently live, and I'm growing my own vegetables, and that's been very, very um, rewarding in many ways every day when I go out and find tomatoes that I can use to cook later in the day. But also, I think it is very important to be able to have sort of a safe space where you can talk with others who understand and identify with it, because a lot of times just airing your grievances and having someone be a sounding board can be such a good outlet and such a good way to de-stress and be able to bring that tension way down. So I highly recommend, if you don't already have a network that you can reach out to, find a friend, find a colleague or an ex-colleague, and just someone who will understand you, who will just listen to you and support you, and just vent and use that person's time to be able to de-stress.
Absolutely. Thank you. You know, it's funny because I I have tons of house plants and I like to garden too, but I didn't mention that. So let me just throw that in there now. I do the same. Thank you.
Yes, they don't complain and they always give you so much in return. So
Yeah, absolutely. So another question coming from YouTube is, do you know of any co-op pineapple farms? All the pineapples in the store near me are from Costa Rica, Dole, which is known to hinder macaque conservation there. Is there no ethical pineapple sources? And I think this is one of those commodity fruits that you were talking about earlier, Lauren, where it's the same as bananas. I don't know if this is on our list of one of the fruits to look into, but do you have anything to say about that?
I don't. I think that you already know, like Dole, Chiquita, all the big names are problematic, but I don't know that's to say that if you found one at a co-op and you were able to find out, you know, where they got it from, that you can't look up their page and, try to find some information. That's not to say you trust everybody's pages. I just don't know enough about pineapples, but I feel like we have some information on pineapples on our website, but I think it's under the slavery section, unfortunately. So yeah, sorry, we don't know enough about that right now.
Yeah, thank you. So maybe in the future, stay tuned. We may be adding that to our list to add to our website. Get rid of that. Another question coming in is, do you guys team up with other nonprofits on certain projects? This give it back to Laura.
We do. We work with a lot of nonprofits based that work on factory farming issues. Factory farming issues, farm worker justice issues. So we work with the MCUI, which is the Indigenous Farm Workers, based here in Sonoma County, and we've worked in the past with Center for Farm Worker Families, and we're part of the California Environmental Justice Coalition. So we work with a load of environmental justice organizations on various environmental racism issues in California. So yeah, I know that there's more. I just can't think of who they are right now, but the farm worker organizations and environmental justice groups we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Another question coming in on Facebook is, as you were in the spring, are you still directly involved in helping farm workers with all the risks associated with COVID-19? And yes, we are.
Yeah, I mean, what right now what we're doing with COVID-19 and the farm workers is I'm on the Latinx workforce for Sonoma County. So the Latinx community in Sonoma County is small, but we are the highest rates of COVID-19. I could give you statistics, but I think mine are a bit off right now. But I want to say at one point in time, we're like 27 to 30% of the population in Sonoma County, but we're like 65 to 70% of the those diagnosed with COVID-19. So for the farm workers, I'm part of this committee, and we help guide the languages and other information to be appropriate for the farm workers. So we're making sure it's in the indigenous languages. We're making sure that farm workers who assist get paid. We just got through making sure that the county provides the data by zip codes versus census tract data. So every week we have these meetings and all this information. I'm trying to get the farm workers to be part of the meetings, the farm worker group we work with, that they're having difficulty. So at this point in time, I'm passing everything along to them. I think that maybe you all know, but when COVID-19 first hit, we contacted the farm workers and asked them what they needed. The first round that everybody asked for was school supplies for their children. We went back again, what do you need now? And the big request was food. So we raised over $10,000 and sent thousands and thousands of dollars worth of food to farm workers. We also sent masks. We also sent money to groups in North Carolina and Washington State to help the farm workers buy masks and other materials for COVID-19. And then again, right now with the school supply drive, we're giving them school supplies. We also have some toothbrushes that we got donated from a local organization. And we're also going to be getting masks. There's also a organization, a Chinese American organization based in San Jose, I think, that's going to be trying to get its food and more masks. So we'll be providing those. We're actually Saturday, we're going to be delivering the school supplies to the Central Valley. Next week, we'll be doing another set to Sonoma and then another last set to the Central Valley again. So the Central Valley is where a lot of the food that we all eat comes from in California.
Yeah, and if I can just jump in, I'd like to point out, in case anyone listening is not aware, that farm workers are essential workers. They don't get time off during a pandemic. They work all the time in the fields, but they are not provided any of the personal protective equipment that you would otherwise get as an essential worker. And so that's why, as part of the deliveries, we were including masks so that they at least have that to be able to protect them while they're working so hard to get us more produce from the fields.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for saying that, Shadanya. The last question that I'm seeing here is one that we don't typically get, but maybe one of y'all can chime in. It is, beyond ethical veganism, are there any sub-diets within veganism that you favor more than others? Example, RT4, high carbs, whole starch, low fat, all these high protein, SAD, etc. I'm not sure if y'all know about that. One of y'all want to jump in?
Well, I would say that Food Empowerment Project was started with the thought of the suffering of non-human animals in terms of the veganism. So as long as you're doing your most to not contribute to the suffering of human or non-human animals, that's kind of where our emphasis is causing the least suffering, causing the least pain, and doing our best to make the world a more just place. So that's pretty much, if you define veganism as a diet, then that's how we would define it.
Yeah, I'd agree. And I think our focus has always been on veganism from the point of view of helping non-human animals and then helping farm workers. And we haven't really delved into sort of the health and nutrition space, and that's not what we do as an organization.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just checking everywhere else to make sure I'm not missing anyone's questions. If you have any questions, please do get them in now. I'm going to put up one more poll. I love these polls. They're so great, y'all. Let me pull it up. So this poll I'm hoping you will participate in is, how will you share this video with friends and family? So let me just launch that poll. I'll give you about a minute to fill it out. Just quick question, just put it in there. Let's see, make sure I'm not missing anything.
While we're waiting, I would just like to thank everyone for joining us. I think this has been great. It's my first experience with FEP on doing a live event. So thank you for this. And thank you for all the very well thought out questions. It was great to be able to respond to them live. And also, it's given us some things to take back and discuss internally as well. So thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I think that's a good amount of time to give you. Thank you so much for, a lot of you said that you would be sharing via social media. So thank you so much. We will be having this video up on our website. This live webinar will be available on our Facebook as the live it is, and also on YouTube. But head over to our website, foodispower.org, and there you will find the video where you can actually see captions in English and Spanish come up, so you can share it with a lot more people. Let me just thought I seen another question come in. Go ahead, Lauren, if you have something to say.
Oh, no, I thought the question that came in. I'll answer the question that came in. So basically the question was about our Vallejo Healthy Food Fest and when it will be. So it's going to be online. It's going to be 3 Saturdays. It's going to be Saturday, September 26th, Saturday, October 3rd, and Saturday, October 10th. Typically, the event in years past has only been open to the Vallejo community with a $5 fee for those from outside the community, because again, this event is for the community. But now we're going to let anybody come because it's going to be virtual. So again, for anybody who tunes in who's not from Vallejo, just keep in mind this is for that community. So you're kind of getting a glimpse into the community because it's all about people doing the cooking demos who are from the community, performers from the community. But it'll be taking place on those 3 Saturdays, and we will be posting information on it closer to the date. We're just finalizing things right now. We've been busy with all the school supplies. So that is something that everybody will be able to be a part of this year.
Yeah, and definitely follow us on Facebook. We will be putting up that Vallejo Healthy Food Fest event page coming up soon. That way you can invite people from the community of Vallejo and any others that would like to attend as well. You could just share. So I think that's no more questions are coming in. Thank you so much to everyone for attending our first live premiere, our first live video, or our first video that was so wonderful. Thank you, Zach, again, for your incredibly hard work on creating this amazing video. We truly appreciate it. Lauren, Shiranya, if you'd like to say.
Zach, know that we have more ideas for you, and I'm sure everybody's like, oh my gosh, she's going to make another video for them. Yeah, heck yeah. Could you see that and not think we're going to be like, hello, we got more ideas for you. So yeah, we got them coming to you, Zach. And yeah, just again, like Shiranya and Eric, I want to thank everybody for coming today and really being a part of this and your great questions and your support of Food Empowerment Project and getting what we do. We're just tuning in because you want to learn more about what it is that we're doing. And if you'd like us to do more of these, please let us know. Please, reach out to Eric on social media and say, hey, it'd be great if y'all talked about this or that, or, ramble some more, or let's, delve into one of our issues or whatever it is, what kind of work we do. And so please let us know. And also, I just wanted to make sure that we remind everybody to please wear your masks, social distance. Let's take care of each other out there. And for those of us who are in California, really take care with the fires that are going on. When it gets really hot here and the fire's going on, this will all remember that the farm workers are still working in that. And so that's why it's so important that we need to do what we can to support them when they're feeding us. So yeah, just thank you all so much again and take care.
Thanks, everyone. It was great to meet you all in this format, and we look forward to doing more of these in the future.
Absolutely. Bye, all right. Bye, everyone.